What is up, everyone? Welcome to Massive Unboxing number 25. This is the Black Friday Massive Unboxing. Black Friday has come and gone, and lots of great deals were available at all retailers across the hobby. But the model that we're starting off with is actually not a Black Friday deal. This is just a model that arrived within the chaos of me ordering all the Black Friday models. Now, I was not intending to have a Black Friday Massive Unboxing, but as you'll see throughout the video, circumstances change, and thus a Massive Unboxing was warranted. So this first model comes from Panda Fox Toys, and this actually is a discount because I had enough loyalty points through their store to get use a $15 discount. So I cashed in, and instead of spending about, what was it, 62 or something, I spent only 47. So I want to bump the camera there, sorry about that. But let's go ahead and take this model out. One that provides a lot of sentimental value to me. Of course, one that I flew this past summer and have been actually meaning to get for a long time, but with me flying it a few months ago provided me the great opportunity to get it, and it is the United 777-200ER with Pratt & Whitney engines. Now, the exact aircraft that I flew, which was November 772 Uniform Alpha, that one is a non-ER, but as far as I can tell, there's not any significant exterior cosmetic differences between the non-ER and the ER variant. So the only difference is, of course, the label and the aircraft registration. So we've got the standard Gemini Jets box, Boeing 777-200ER. There's the beauty inside, and we did not get the flaps down, of course. There's the aircraft pamphlet with all the information. And then on the back, labeled as a 2025 release. And the item number on this is GJUAL 2230. Just need to get my thumb in there. There we go. Very excited. Another United wide body in the current livery. Evo Blue joins the fleet. So I've got the 764, the 7810, and now I'll have the 222. All right, pop this out, and uh-oh, we are missing wheels. We are missing wheels. But the good news is they are already inside the box. So I guess they must have just plopped out or something. I'm gonna go ahead and put all this away, and I'll fix it up real quick, and then we'll get to the review. Alright, so there it is, the United 777-200ER by Gemini Jets. Unfortunately, the wheels are kind of loose on this, so I'm going to have to be very delicate with moving this, otherwise the wheels are just going to fall off this thing. So let me see if I can get this repositioned into my standard review position, but there we go, United 222. Super cool to finally have another model from the Airliners Expedition that I flew, even though it's not a matching tail number. If someone wants to do that, I'll be happy to get it, even if it's the same livery, because I know NG, someone has it up with the Blue Tulip livery, so I'd love to get that. Starting off at the front, we've got the nose cone, copy windows, Star Alliance logo, connecting people united in the world. You see the fleet code along with a little ETOP certification. Nose gear itself, which looks really good on the improved JC mold. They did a great job retooling this. There is the L1 door and then the L2 door, which is what the door that we boarded through, since everything up front would be, you know, like first class and all that. They have like a domestic first class and all that. Not as impressive as the, you know, like the Polaris seats and all that they have on some of their other wide bodies, and especially the ones that are more designed for international flying. There's the Wi-Fi dome along with one antenna, and then the lovely Pratt & Whitney engines right there. And then moving towards the rear, there's the L3 door, and then we were seated way in the back. We'd have been probably right about in this area. So barely can see the wing just out the window from, I think I was in like 49A or something like that, and then Connor and Anderson were in the row ahead of me in 48. So yeah, sitting way in the back, because if we sat up front any further, we would have had to pay extra, especially for, you know, getting a business or premium economy seat up in the front. It would have cost us a lot of money, and we were splurging on this because it was only like less than $100 for this 777 between Denver and Chicago, since they only flew it on Saturdays at the time. So, you know, snagged a really good deal on it. And then there is the United tail, looking all nice and pretty. Just making sure that door, or the landing gear, sorry, that doesn't pop out again. So I may not be able to do like a over-under review. But there's the right side, got the R1 door, and then all the other applicable details on this side. It's making a bunch of weird squeaky noises. It does concern me a little bit. But on the, just looking at the top, so there's, you see 1, 2, 3 antennas up at the top, along with the printed details. And then I'll risk trying to get a bottom shot here, but there's the bottom shot, just with that gray underbelly, along with the very tiny Gemini Jets logo, all that fun stuff. So very lovely model to get massive unboxing number 25 started. Again, this is not a Black Friday deal, but it just so happened to arrive as I was making all my Black Friday orders. I've got a bunch of other models on order as well, 3D Design Deck and NG Exchange. Just a bunch of orders that I've placed, and I am trying to I did not want to do this, but oh my god, Black Friday was incredible, and all the new releases coming out simultaneously, it's just been off the charts. But great start for this video. So let's move on to the second order. Alright, next up I've got 2 of the next 3 orders for this Black Friday massive unboxing. One of the orders, I'll talk about kind of the story of how this all came together if I haven't already explained it yet, because I haven't looked back at the original clip. But anyway, here we go. So we'll start off with the box on the top, because this box has multiple models. So this second order that I have, this is not in chronological order, by the way, but the second order here, this comes from Yankee Victor 400, who were having a Cyber Monday sale, and they were slashing prices, call them like glitch sales or something like that, if I remember right. And they just had a good section of discounted models, and they were steep discounts too. I mean, they were discounts that I had to look through. And I saw one particular model that I thought about getting for a little while, but just because I didn't actually see this aircraft up close, minus a brief look at the tail of this bird, I have been a little bit hesitant on getting it, just for that sentimental value. But now I finally have it. I decided to get it because the discounted price was just really good. We got the packing peanuts here once again, and this is my first time actually properly ordering from Yankee Victor 400, since the last order I got from them was through a friend who helped me out as a sort of birthday gift. There was an invoice in here. So we got it all wrapped up in this nice bubble wrap, and that, my friends, is going to be the BOA Airbus A330-200 by Phoenix. Now, this is an airline from Bolivia, and they actually fly to Miami with the A330s, but they fly them pretty late at night and early in the morning, so that's why I didn't get to see it when I was in Miami, but I did see the tail at least briefly during my stay in the 305. I'm actually going to try something here, because I just removed part of the paper there on the side. So just improvising by reusing some of the packing material here. But you see, Yankee Victor does a really good job packing the models. Bubble wrap, and then taping it all shut. And actually got it in multiple layers here. Go ahead and get it out just as is here. There we go. Perfect. Very lovely little model here. BOA A330-200.
Aviation Expo is a brand new aviation event taking place from July 8th through 11th, 2026 at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. From model airplanes to aviation tours to plane spotting, you're not going to want to miss the best aviation event of 2026. Check out aviationexpo.org for more information and sign up for news updates today.
Kind of a unique airline. I don't really know much about them, but they have fascinated me in sort of a unique way after having seen them in Miami and then having a friend who is just really into this airline as well. So I decided to get it just in his honor, since I know he would love me to have this. So starting off, we have Airbus A330-200. There's an image of the plane, airline logo, registration Charlie Papa-3209, 1:400 scale platinum series. So this is an older Phoenix release, since they stopped putting that on their boxes now. There's the bottom with some basic model information, and then the right side, which has the airline logo, registration, and some airline details. And then there's top side and the left side with the Heart of Aviation listed there. All right, so let's go ahead and open this up. Very excited to add this, and you see the little Phoenix logo there on the inside of the flap. Let's see how this beauty turned out, and this is actually, wow, this is looking really nice. Oh boy, that corner there's a little tight. Why is this corner tight? Oh god, I thought the model was gonna go flying there. All right, let's take this out. Ooh boy, that's actually a lot more of a detailed livery, but uh-oh. What is it with Phoenix and these wings coming off, man? It looks like this one, I don't know. This one looks like it kind of got, well, I know Phoenix, there was an issue with the A330 mold, like the way that the wings were attached. I think that might be contributing to at least this particular issue, because if you look here, you'll see that the wing, it looks like it can't be fully attached. It's just weird. But you have this gap right there, and I know people were having a fit about that. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, beside that, I mean, this looks like a pretty nice model. It's just unfortunate, and it's even more frustrating that I can't take the wing completely off to fix this, I don't think. And I feel like if I do, I'm going to risk damaging this model permanently. So I think we're just going to have to leave that as is and see if this is something I can fix later. But otherwise, the model arrived perfectly. And with the packing that Yankee Victor provided, I can't really put blame on him for this model being damaged. Because I think everything was all sales final on that sale. So even if I were to try and get some sort of compensation, it may not entirely work out, but I'm sure I may hear from him here, or I'll reach out to him if this is something that does persist enough to where it annoys me or whatnot. So anyway, there it is, the BOA A330-200 by Phoenix. And again, I want to say, actually no, this is not my first South American model, because I just thought of the Gol Max 8 that I have. That's from Brazil. So I can't say this is my first South American model, but I think this is my first, not even my first wide body either, because I had the LATAM as well. So I'm just remembering this. I've got way too many models. I can't keep track of it all in my head, but there we go. Phoenix A330-200 with BOA colors. So we're going to just do a review like normal. Starting off at the front, we have the cockpit windows and a website domain. There's the L1 door and some flags right there, and then you have the full airline titles. I'm just going to call it BOA because I'm gonna butcher the name of it if I try to pronounce it myself. So there it is right there, along with an antenna and a little Wi-Fi dome. Then you have the engines, which have part of the airline logo on it. Then the wings. The winglet does have some detail on it. I'll see if the camera wants to focus on that today. Maybe not. If I move it back a little bit more. I guess not, but you'll see it eventually. And then there's the registration printed up there, Charlie Papa -3209. Some more antennas, there's a bunch of them on the bottom there. And then there's part of the airline livery in the back. Looks like a bird of some sort. If anybody knows what that is, please let me know. And then there's the full BOA logo on the tail. And then on the right side, there's the domain again, some luggage doors, and all that fun stuff over here. Looking good. I'm going to do some expedited reviews here because I've got, as I said, I only have 2 of the next 3 orders, and the last order has 4 models, so I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. And on the bottom, you have the BOA logo, registration printed on the underside of the wing, and on the top side there. So despite the slight little QC issue, this model did turn out really good. And I'll have to see if maybe this is something that I can fix myself, or if this is just something I'm going to have to live with, because, yeah, I mean, that is frustrating. It does have a little bit of a paint chip on the underside, but it's not hugely noticeable. So I don't know. I may have to toy around with this a little bit, but besides that little issue there, this model turned out excellent. So let's move on to the Wildcat order. And this Wildcat order has 3 models in it. And this was originally, this alongside the United 777, this was supposed to be the Black Friday unboxing. But of course, with the fact that Jet Collector, that's who I placed this next order from, had quite the door crasher sale going on. and then me ordering that extra model from Yankee Victor for Black Friday. That's what made this become a massive unboxing, much to my and my wallet's chagrin. So, that's what happens when I try to not get so much on Black Friday. It just kind of spirals out of control because there's so many good deals. You get enticed to take advantage of these good deals, and Wildcat had a really good deal as well on their Black Friday sale. It was like 15% off everything, and then if you spent only $100, that savings went up to 20%, which was, I think that's the best like deal I've seen on those incremental savings based on how much you spend. Like the more you spend, the more you save and all that. So that was one of the better deals I've seen on that. So we've got a super jumbo in here. So of course that's the first thing on top, but this is from the bottom because I could have removed some stuff on the top anyway. So let me see if I can get this out here. All right, so there is the contents of the package, and then the invoice enclosed in here once again, which looks like everything is correct. And the invoice, it's a little sticker with Wildcat. It's not the traditional sheet of paper like I've seen with most other places. So again, with Wildcat, their packing is excellent. You see the bubble wrap. I'm gonna have a bunch of this leftover bubble wrap. I probably need to repurpose this, especially with how much it gets used these days. As these retailers, they take more pride and care in making sure that these models do not get damaged in transit, because that's always been a concern among collectors, and especially with a majority of us who have to purchase our models online because we either A, don't live near a physical retailer. I mean, the nearest one's like 4 hours away from me. Or B, sometimes the online retailers have got some really good stuff. So we have a new brand in this. I was not expecting to get a model from this brand, but as they expand their mold catalog, that has now changed. And this is my first HX model, the Korean Airlines Boeing 737-900ER in the new livery. And they've also released a flaps down variant, which I was quite surprised by. But this HX Korean 739, super nice for the East Asia fleet. We have one of several new Gemini Jets releases I decided to cash in on, the United 737-500 with the Battleship Gray livery. That's been a long time coming for retro collectors. And the tape is stuck on there. That's not what we want. And then, what I would argue to be the star of this massive unboxing, I've wanted one for such a long time, Flying Hanu, the ANA A380. I got the blue one, and this is actually the last one that they had in stock, and I've heard from like 2 people who were saying that they wanted this one. I apologize for snagging the last one, but rest assured, hopefully you'll be able to find this blue one elsewhere, because I know these are super rare. And this is the AV401, by the way, and this is the one that most collectors go after, because I know JC has done them, but the JC Gemini mold is not as good as this one. So that is what we're working with. Okay, so we're going to do smallest aircraft to biggest aircraft, which is a little bit of a discrepancy for the box size, because the Gemini box is a little larger than the HX box. So we'll go ahead and start with the Battleship Gray 737-500 for United Airlines. Never thought they were ever going to do this. A lot of collectors thought the same way, and they surprised us. And they also did a Northwest 75, which I will get later on. I'm probably going to place a big Gemini Jets order in the new year for some new releases I've yet to get. But this is one of them I decided to get now because I've been looking forward to this one. So we had the standard Gemini Jets box. You know the drill with this if you've collected Gemini Jets long enough. There's the model inside, which honestly I think they could use the tiny box for the 735. I think it would fit, just barely, but definitely worth the consideration. I don't know what that noise was, but anyway, there's the aircraft pamphlet. And then on the back, we have the 2025 release with the United and Boeing license disclaimers. And the item number on this is GJUAL 2348. So not a model that, at least I would have assumed anyway, would have been planned out years ago. Again, it baffles me it took them this long to actually make it. And this would actually work as another good retro FSD model because United did send the 735s to Sioux Falls, and that is tiny. Jeez, never realized how tiny the 735 is for, well, just in general anyway. And this is my first 735 as well, because they'd never done this. The Saul Bass 735, a couple of those existed in real life, but none have been made in model form. And then Battleship Gray, and then there's also been a Blue Tulip one. I think Gemini did the Blue Tulip, I want to say, but they haven't done the other deliveries with the Saul Bass and Battleship. So there we go, Battleship Gray 735 for United Airlines. Super nice model here. Now the gray has been a bit of a concern, at least from the lighting that I have. It actually looks a little, it's still a little light, but not as bright as I've seen some pictures make it out to be. So just something to note there, because lighting's going to give you so many discrepancies when it comes to the color and all that. Let's go ahead and go with our expedited review here, since again, this unboxing is going to go too long because I have so many models, way more than I originally planned. But anyway, so we got the nose cone there, cockpit windows, Star Alliance logo, Worldwide Services titles. Then you have the L1 door with the United Airlines titles. Now the nose up stance on mine doesn't look too bad. There were some that had that, but there's the engines down there. One antenna, registration is November 9036 Uniform Alpha. And there is the United tail. So I believe my second mainline Battleship Gray model too, because that's 727, also a retro FSD model. Right side of the aircraft, you have the R1 door, a couple luggage doors on that side, and then there is the rear there with the lovely tulip tail with the blue stripes and everything. Underneath, we have the Gemini Jets logo, stand hole, and the little gray underbelly stripe, or silver there. And then the top, you have the O-ring exit markings, and some little black marks on the front of the wings there, which I'm guessing are for anti-ice stuff. It is a little tail heavy though. Mine does kind of tip back a little, unfortunately, but at certain angles though it doesn't. So it just depends on the orientation of the model and all that. But overall, still a model I would recommend despite the slight deficiencies there, because again, who else is going to make this, at least at this point in time? Maybe Panda, but that could be eons away before we even see them do it. So that is what we're working with. I'm going to put this off to the side here, actually, since we have another 737. This one for Korean Air from HX Models. This is one of the many like two-letter brands that have popped up, because we have HX, we have YY, SQ, there's also Z squared, CW, like creating wings or something. I don't know what all these brands are. There's so many of them that keep popping up. It's not even funny. There are a lot of brands in this hobby now, but HX is one of them that has made a much bigger scene than some of the other ones that I've seen anyway. And HX has made some pretty good stuff. Mostly wide bodies like the MD-11, 747. I think that's really all they have at this point in time, but certainly they are growing their mold catalog as they've added the 737 here. So excited to have my first HX model, see what these guys are all about. So start off, we have Boeing 737-900, Korean titles, image of the plane, there's the airline logo with the registration, 1:400 scale die-cast aircraft model, and then the HX logo down there. On the bottom, there's some barcode stuff, and I have the regular wing configs. They did the flaps down as well. And then there's some more model information on that side, top side, and the left side. And then the back just have the basic product information along with the legal stuff, the legal disclaimers or whatever. And then their website, www.hxmodels.com. I'll have to visit that and see what that website is all about. All right, let's see what the HX 737-900 is all about. And okay, we have some stuff in here. We have some extra goodies. We have some extra goodies in here. It looks like a free stand and also a little collector card. So just go ahead and remove this from the wrap. And there we go. So there is the card in question, which is basically just all the box information consolidated here, but some specifications on the back side. So put that off to the side there. Okay, yeah, this can just go in the box. And then this stand, if I got time here, I'll do something with this stand. But yeah, this does look like a premium stand. I mean, it looks and feels very metallic-y. So that is at least good in terms of the quality here that we are working with. Now, of course, I don't know how to work this stand, so I'm actually just, you know what, I'm just not going to mess with it at this time. I've got other things to do. So I'll definitely put it on the stand at some point, probably in the roundup when I get my last order. So be on the lookout for it on the stand. And what's weird with this HX 739 is that this only costs like $37.99. So I don't understand how they can price this so cheap, especially with how the competition has been. They've been able to price it so high, like $50, but man, does this look nice. That actually turned out really well. Now, I was a little concerned about the blue. It is sparkly, but in all honesty, it's not too bad. I can live with it. But this is my first new Korean Air livery aircraft in the collection, and I almost want to say I think my first Korean Air aircraft, period. Because I don't have a 777, I don't have a 78, I don't have the 350s, I don't have anything from Korean Air. So yeah, this is my first Korean Air aircraft, period. So another one of these international airlines where my first aircraft is not a wide body, but instead a narrow body. Because that's what happens when the East Asia collection gets going. And this is obviously one of those that is critical for that. If I can get that box closed, that'd be phenomenal, but there we go. All right, so Korean Air 739 new livery by HX. Now, I think this isn't a mold from another manufacturer. I think this is their own in-house mold, but they've definitely taken some elements from like NG, because it definitely resembles that. Also, that blue. Oh God, that blue. Oh, I don't know about you guys, but that blue really, really pops. It probably pops a little too much, especially with the red background. So apologies if you can't see the blue all that well. But let me see if the camera wants to focus on the fuselage there and not the back winglet. But there we go, looking nice. HX Korean Air 739. So let's go ahead and get started. Starting off with the nose cone, cockpit windows. Fleet code, which look, the titles look pretty large on that. I'm not sure if that's how it's supposed to be. SkyTeam logo, L1 door, then you have the Korean titles and all the blue back there. There's the little logo on the engines. Overwing exit markings there. Registration Hotel Lima 8248. I believe that's the first 739 that got the new livery. And then there is the new Korean Air logo. And then on the, I'll show a quick little front profile here. Not much wing flex, I would say, or bad wing angle, really. It does look decent to me. And then here on this side, there's the right side of the aircraft, looking nice. Luggage doors and all that fun stuff. There are antennas on this. There's one up top and I believe 2 or 3 on the bottom. Also, the tail strike piece, more prominent than I've seen on other 737s, so that is a nice observation. Nice observation there. And then underneath, the Korean titles. Registration printed on the underside and on the top side. And then the winglets also have the new logo on there as well, if you can see that. Looking nice. So HX did a pretty solid job with this. And that flaps down 739, I haven't really seen much of that, but that one I've heard is pretty good too. So maybe I'll pick that one up, but I kind of want them to do different tail number because I've tried to avoid having duplicate tail numbers in my collection. I just don't really want to deal with that kind of stuff. So anyway, final model, at least for these orders. We've got the Super Jumbo, my first new one in probably like 2 or 3 years now. The Flying Hanu A380 by Aviation 400, the blue one. Now they have specific names. I'll put them up on your screen since they have specific names for each of the colors. But this blue one really called to me. They have like a teal one and then there's an orange one as well. And those are the only 3 that they have, and they fly them between Narita and Honolulu. That's all they do. That's the only route they fly, which I think is just interesting because then what do the other 2 do then just in their free time? They just sit around and do nothing. I think they could work on other routes, but obviously ANA doesn't see it that way. So that's why they only have them on the Tokyo to Honolulu route. So we've got the ANA logo up here. There's the front of the plane with the Flying Hanu. Then you have the image of the full image of the plane, and then there's one very happy little turtle down there. Fly Hanu down there. Art number is WB4031. And there's the bottom. We have the full details there. Registration is Juliet Alpha 381 Alpha. They have 382 and 383. I think 382 is the teal, and then 383 is the orange. I may have that flipped around though. Then you have the big ANA logo on that side, and then the top and the left side with the Airbus A380-800 logo. And then the back. Oh, this is a heavy box. But there's the back of the box, which is a bit more simplified, but you do have the barcode on there and everything. And it looks like the box got crushed up there, but that may have just been for me trying to remove it. Hopefully the model's not damaged. Oh boy, holy cow. Oh God. Okay. This is going to be interesting. Got a lot of landing gear to put together. My first AV400 A380. Oh geez, what is this? Oh, there's some tape on there. I don't know know why they put tape on that. I think that's a bad idea. All right, let's take this out. Well, they certainly aren't shying away from protection, that's for darn sure. Holy crap. That is nice. Holy Toledo, that thing is amazing. I am so glad I got one of these. The Flying Hanu A380. Good lord, that thing is immensely amazing. So you got the stand right there, and then the landing gear, which is just in a separate section on the cradle. See if I can pop that out here without losing any of the plastic pieces. Definitely gonna have to take a minute to assemble this. And then here's some of the, that's for like the gear up config there, so I'll just put that back in the box. And then this goes in here for the protection of the fence tips. So I'm gonna take a minute to assemble this, and I'll be back with the review. All right, well, there it is, the Flying Hanu Blue A380. Good lord, this thing is amazing. Best model I probably have in my collection now, this awesome Flying Hanu, the Blue A380. And this is like, I think my like 4th ANA model, because I have both the 777s, 7.6 and the A380. So yeah, this is number 4 now. I've really grown that ANA fleet this year. But man, this thing is just amazing. Definitely worth the price I paid. The retail price is like 67, 68 bucks, I think. Let me see that invoice again. Oh, where did I put it? That's in here. Let's see, so... Actually, no, it doesn't list it on the sticker invoice, but the price was like, it was almost 70 bucks, but with the discount it was like, I think like under 60 even. So definitely worth the price that I paid for this regardless. But starting off, we have the nose cone, there's the cockpit windows, and you have the lovely turtle face up front. There is the front boarding door, and then you got the second one right there. Airbus A380 along with the little Star Alliance logo there. Now the fleet code printed on the nose gear as well. On the top, there are not 1 but 2 beacons that they have put on there, not printed, but they are molded. One antenna up at the top. All the blue colors back there, and then there is some more details there. Look at that lovely turtle. Here's a smaller one here towards the rear. That is nice. Get a screenshot of that. That is very cool. But there you go. Then you have the Trent engines on this, so there they are, looking beautiful. And then towards the rear you have the small ANA Inspiration to Japan titles, Flag of Japan, registration Juliet Alpha 381 Alpha, and a very happy little baby turtle in the back. And then there is the white ANA tail, the inverted color. Because I'm guessing, yeah, with the regular branding, it would kind of clash with the colors there, especially with this blue, because this blue is fairly close to the standard ANA branding that they have. And then on the right side, not too much to report on here, but definitely looking solid all throughout. Just a beautiful, beautiful view of this livery. Definitely want to go to Honolulu to spot this, because this has just been, it's been amazing seeing this and just holding it now with the gear. My God, this is incredible. Definitely get one if you can find one. They are kind of hard to find now, but I mean, if you can find it, definitely snag one. But there's the bottom of the aircraft with the full ANA titles. Registration printed there. And then on the other side, you have the Flag of Japan and the registration there as well. So very solid order overall for number 2 and 3. Then we'll get to number 4 here, and then we'll finally round up everything with all the models. And here's the final order, everybody, from Jet Collector. As I alluded to earlier, they had quite the door crasher sales, selling models for prices as low as $10 and $8. 1 to 400 scale models, which a lot of them were just old Aero Classic stock. I presume they had a whole bunch of them and they were just looking to get rid of them somehow. So I decided to cash in. And I bought 4 models for a total of 45 bucks, which is the equivalent of 1 model today. So you can bet that I was very happy to see those deals just hanging out here. I kind of forgot what I bought, to be totally honest, but I'm opening this from the bottom. Here's one of the ones that I got, which looks like it's been a little smushed. This is a Northwest DC-8 in a very old livery. That was, I think, one of the $10 ones. And then Aero Classics, the rest of them are Aero Classics. We have this Evergreen International Electra. And then there should be 2 more in here. Bought a couple baby bus models as well. Here's the new JetBlue Vetsin Blue. I'm surprised no one else has done this, so for $8, I'm like, why not? Actually, I think that one was one of the $10 models. And then I have a Spirit A320neo. Now, why did I get another one? Well, same reason as I got all the others, because of the very low price. Now, there should be, I'd assume, the invoices in here somewhere. I think I can feel it. Yep, there it is. I'll just go ahead and pull that out real quick. So yeah, the prices were unbelievably good. It doesn't list the prices on the invoice, but I know with the Electra, I spent like $720 or something like that because you could use the VIP Gold discount at checkout for a period of time. Now, when they found out that people were using the discount code to save even more money, they closed that up pretty quickly. So, you know, either way, the savings that you were getting on these things is just unbelievable. So, yeah, had to cash in and get myself 4 models for the price of 1, which is not something you see every day. You don't see it ever in this hobby. So Jet Collector, I think, overall probably had the best, at least a Black Friday section anyway. Maybe not an overall sale, but in terms of the section of models, I thought they were pretty decent. So, we're going to go ahead and get started with the Electra, the Evergreen International example, which was the cheapest model out of the lot, and I think it is the least I've ever spent on a model, at least from a retailer. I spent $5 for that Air China A350 a few years ago, but in terms of like online retailers, I think this is the cheapest I've ever acquired a model for. So we have the standard Aero Classics box. You got the cutout there. There's the old domain, but no box information besides this sticker there. So November 5539er. I think that, I want to say that's like, I can't remember who would have had that registration, but this will definitely get a retro review down the line. So first time in a while that I'm getting an Electra for the collection, and here we are, looking nice. So again, a lot of the door crasher stuff is just excess stock that they had lying around and couldn't sell previously at their normal prices, and even at discounted prices. I'm sure they were really struggling trying to sell these things, but you know, they finally lowered the prices down to $8 to $10. It's like you're gonna have people cashing in, and we certainly had a fair share of that. So I was one of those lucky people to cash in, and here we are. Very lovely Evergreen International Electra, my first of this airline as well, so another new airline to add to the collection. Let's go ahead and get started with the review here. Starting off, there's a nose cone, cockpit windows, little American flag, and got some stars. Fleet code on the nose gear door, then you have the cargo door there, Evergreen International, and then there's also a second cargo loading door right there. Registration November 5539er, and then there is the Evergreen tail. And then on the other side, there's propellers, which do spin on this, by the way. On the other side, not too much to report on here, but there's obviously no luggage doors on this side, and all that fun stuff there. So, Electra mold from Aero Classics is very nice. It's a little dated, but it does hold pretty well today. Underneath, there is not much to report on, not even a stand hole there. And then there is the top of the aircraft. One little beacon light is all for the exterior details with this one. So overall, a very nice model from Aero Classics, and happy to snag this for just $7 with that VIP Gold discount before they closed that loophole, because I know some people were definitely using it to their advantage, and I was definitely one of those. Had to save as much money as possible, so definitely worth the shot to get as much savings as I could. So moving on to the second model, here is the Aero Classics Spirit A320neo. This is with the cockpit mask, so with that I will be up to, what would that be, like 5 Spirit models? Because I have 2 A320neos from Gemini, one with the cockpit mask, one without. I have a 321 Neo from Gemini, and then I also have a 321 from NG, and a 320 from NG. So it'd actually be my 6th. Now, obviously, with Spirit, they're in quite a bit of financial woes right now, so it's a little bit of a risky move to add Spirit, but again, for like $9-10, however much I spent on this, I think it's at least worthy of the investment. But in the event Spirit does go under, I'll certainly figure out a game plan as to what I'll do with my Spirit fleet moving forward. But anyways, here we have the standard blue box for Aero Classics 1:400 scale printed down there. Not much to report on for details, but there is the side of the box which has all the applicable information, registration, and livery details. And then the back of the box just with the legal stuff. That's all there is to it. So let's see how this one turns out. There was a special livery, but I don't think that special livery is flying anymore, so I just decided to go for another regular livery Spirit. I normally don't do this, but hey, for $9, I just could not pass up on this. It actually turned out pretty good. Color isn't too bad. I've seen worse from them with modern stuff, but this yellow, I think, in my opinion, is pretty hard to get wrong. So I think Aero Classics did pretty good here with the color for Spirit. And they've done a good handful of Spirits over the years, so they have a lot of reference material of their own to go back to when making new Spirit aircraft. So there we are. And this was made before they had the NG, the new gear. I feel like that was deliberate to title it NG, so I gotta be really careful here because I keep losing wheels. I lost some of my Continental DC-10 the other day, so I'm trying to be very careful with this so I don't lose any more wheels. But there we go. Spirit A320 Neo by Aero Classics. And I might do a model comparison between the Gemini cockpit mask release and then this one. So let me know if you guys want to see that. So go ahead and start off at the front. We have the cockpit windows along with the mask. There's the L1 door and the nose gear, which is very wobbly. You can see it moving around in there. That axle's got a lot of wiggle room. And then moving towards the front, you got like the big front seat and all that stuff up there. Along with the filled-in Spirit titles, this is the revised livery that they introduced a few years ago. Spirit.com on the engines, and then you move towards the rear. You have the registration, November 985, November Kilo. I flew 928 with Connor from Nashville to Fort Lauderdale. Unfortunately, that aircraft was put into storage a couple months ago because of all the engine issues, and of course, Spirit trying to downsize their fleet a little bit amid their bankruptcy right now. But there is a fleet code printed as well, along with the American flag, just behind that boarding door, and then the Spirit tail. Looking nice. And then on the right side, you see the what I presume to be Airbus A320 Neo printed right underneath the cockpit windows, and they have the luggage doors on this side. Spirit is, they do print Howdy on the inside of the winglets. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see there with the fuselage in the way. But there, they actually got the Howdy printing pretty good, so that's a nice plus there from Aero Classics, despite some of their other deficiencies. And there's a tail on that side. Not too bad of a model here for $9. And underneath, there's just the stand hole and some landing gear door details. And in the top, you have the overwing exit markings and one beacon light. So I'll just do a quick overview again, but there's model number 2 for this part of the unboxing. Nice to add another Spirit, and hopefully they're able to pull through and make it. I'm rooting for them, especially with, you don't want all the employees to lose their jobs and they're going to have to go elsewhere when there's only so much space in this industry these days. Okay, so onto a model that I have been hoping for someone like Gemini or NG to make, but no one else has done it, so I'm forced to settle for this Aero Classics example. So this is the new Vetsun Blue A320. Gemini did the old rendition, which I did see in New York in 2019, so that's why I got it, but now I've put that one into storage because I don't have a use for it since it's been repainted. But just a standard Baby Bus Models box. They actually use it for that, but not for the Spirit, which I find interesting. But yeah, Baby Bus Models, a new range from Aero Classics, but this has been around for years. And then, yeah, I've shown the Baby Bus Models box a good handful of times on the channel. So if you watched enough of my unboxings, you'll know what they look like. But on the bottom, you do have the Vetsun Blue livery details and model information. And then Aero Classics presenting this exciting new range, Baby Bus Models. Pop the top on this beauty. Now, they actually did pretty good on the Vetsun Blue, if I remember right. I know one of the JetBlue models, I think it was the 321 Neo new livery, they actually did really good on. Or no, I think it was a standard 321 disregard, not the Neo. There goes a piece of the foam there. Yeah, mine's got quite a bit of wing flex. I'll show here in a second. Mine's got quite a bit of wing flex. I've never seen that with the A320s from Aero Classics before. That is news to me. But, I mean, yeah, otherwise, the model is acceptable. I think the color might be a little dark on this with the purple and everything, but it's an Aero Classics tradition to, at least with the modern models anyway, they get the colors like 5 or 6 shades too dark, and it's just, you know, it gets collectors upset. But nobody really goes to Aero Classics for modern models anyway, because we obviously have better alternatives. But when they're the only ones that have still made the gosh darn Frontier A321 Neos, where is someone else doing that? Is NG or Gemini going to step up to the plate and make one? I swear to God. We've waited for somebody else to do those things, I think for about 2 years, and no one else has done them. Sorry, that sounded more like a rant than anything, but it's frustrating that Aero Classics is still the only offering for Frontier A321 Neos. NG, please get on those votes, those approved wishes. They are still up on the wish list. Please do them, because I know those things would sell like hotcakes. You may not think that, but trust me, put a couple of them on the market. They will sell fast. But anyway, enough of me ranting about Frontier. I'll certainly make a dedicated video ranting about that. But let's go ahead and enjoy this very lovely Vets in Blue, new Vets in Blue, A320 Jet Blue by Aero Classics. So yeah, color kind of dark on this one, but you know, again, for the price I paid, I'm not going to be super critical about it anyway. There's a good reason why they were priced so low in the first place. So starting off, we have the cockpit windows, which are a bit hard to see with that dark purple they used. Then you have Vets in Blue printed there, L1 door, and then you have the JetBlue titles, and there's the yellow swoop that comes into play. JetBlue.com on the engines, and JetBlue honors our veterans. You'll note that the fence tips are also yellow, that same color there as the little ribbon here. Registration November 775 Juliet Bravo, Airbus A320. Then you have the rear door and, of course, the ribbon. Looking super nice. And then on the right side, you have the luggage doors there, all that fun stuff, and everything else you could ask for Aero Classics, which is not that much, because that's what Aero Classics does to you. Underneath, you see more of the ribbon details there, how it wraps around the fuselage, and then the top of the aircraft should be beacon lights somewhere, but kind of hard to see with that dark purple they use, and then the overwing exit markings right there. So model number 3 from Aero Classics, looking solid, and happy to add Vets in Blue finally. We'll definitely get some use out of that in some random other airports. So now let's move on to the last model, another retro model at that, and that's the Northwest DC-832 in the, I don't even know the official name of this livery, but this is from like the 60s or so, right around when the jet age started and Northwest got their first jets, like the DC-8s and the 707s and all that. This was one of the first liveries that the jet aircraft wore. But this is a very old school Gemini Jets release, so I had to get this because last year I got the United 763 Solbass, which was $15. They still have some left, and they were $10 in the door crasher section. So if I waited another year, I could have saved another $5, but hey, 15 at the time was still a really good deal for it. So for the old Gemini Jets box, it's pretty standard. You've got limited edition, image of the model, and then all the airline, manufacturer, aircraft manufacturer logos. Made for collectors, my collectors, DC-8 trademark, owned by Boeing. There's the model inside, and that's actually looking pretty nice. As real as it gets detail, and then the collectible information there, you can pause to read that. And then on the back, 2001 release, and this is a bit of a crushed box, so I don't know what happened here. Hopefully the model's intact. And then the item number on this is GJ-NWA 230. Very old school release. Ooh, this is going to be a little tight to get out of there, but there we go. All right, so let's take this out if we can here. And we should be in good shape. Ooh, nice. But I've kind of been wanting one of these for some time, and these are always, it's just one of those models that you always find at retailers, and they're just at super discounts. And you know, for I think this one was one of the $10 ones, I want to say. So for that price, it's hard to say no to, and especially with Black Friday, it's a good way to cap off this unboxing. Certainly a lot of exciting models, some unique additions, East Asia stuff coming in, and then just some other offerings that just kind of snuck their way in. And it's not the last of the unboxings, I will tell you that. I'll give more details at the end here when we get to the roundup after this review. So there she is, Northwest DC-830, and I think, yeah, this is my first DC-8 as well that has the old engines, I forget what they call them, but it's the old engines with the DC-8s, and at least with the shortened DC-8s, because all I had prior to this were the stretched ones. So I had UPS, DHL, I think I have another one in there as well, I'm forgetting it. Oh yeah, Evergreen, or not Evergreen, sorry. Emery Worldwide, that's the one that I have. Thank you to LAS for that one from just over about a year and a half ago now. It's been a while since I got that one. So yeah, Northwest DC-8, looking beautiful from Gemini Jet's old school release from well over 20 years ago. So starting off at the front, you see that nose profile, definitely a little interesting. But nose cone, copy windows, there's the L1 door, the nose gear, Northwest Orient Airlines printed there. Then you have the Northwest titles in that dark purple, the navy blue, whatever. There's the engines, and these ones that they have, I think it lists them on the box. They are 4 Pratt & Whitney JT4A-9, so they are very old engines. The re-engine ones are the CFM56, which is the same engine on like the 737, the A320, and even the KC-135. There's a different variant for them as well. But there's the engines. You see that exhaust piece, kind of interesting with the way that is. Almost looks like it's coming off of the engine there, but it looks like that's just how they attached it and not necessarily, you know, a quality issue or whatever. Registration November 804 Uniform Sierra, and then we have DC-8 Intercontinental behind that rear door. Then you have the Northwest tail, and also the old tail seam, so I got another tail seam at Gemini Jet. On the right side, you see that red accent there as well, and all the other details on this side. Looking good. Very happy to have this one. And then underneath, there's the old Gemini Jets logo with the stand hole and the silver paint, no polish here. And then the top with the beacon and really nothing else. So there we go. Black Friday 2025 is in the books. Let's go ahead and round everything up right now. Alright, so there's the full haul for Massive Unboxing number 25. Definitely want to take a look at each of them individually. Started off pretty strong there with the United 777 by Gemini Jets, a sentimental piece right there. And then moving along at the Korean Air 739 in the new livery. My first model from HX turned out excellent. Another new airline, BOA A330, despite the little wing defect, this is still a very nice model. And then the Super Jumbo Flying Hanu, the ANA A380, yet another ANA aircraft for the collection. And then moving down, you have some of my jet collector stuff. There's the Northwest DC-8 we just looked at. Super nice little model. United 735, Gemini did pretty good on this despite the wrong color there. My example turned out pretty decent. Have to hold this up with the air stair there, you see that, because this model is unfortunately tail heavy. Spirit A320neo, doesn't hurt to add another one for less than $10, so decided to cash in. New Vets in Blue A320, hopefully someone else will make it. And then the Evergreen International Electra. Good to get a couple retro models added into the collection for some new retro review subjects. And oh yeah, I also have the collector card for the Korean 739 over there as well. So hope you enjoyed this Black Friday massive unboxing, which was, again, not my original plan, but like I said, circumstances changed and it warranted a massive unboxing to be included. So next one will be the Christmas massive unboxing in a few weeks' time, and then 27 should be some new Gemini Jets acquisitions and perhaps anything else that might sneak in at around the same time, so be on the lookout for that. Really excited for all the new acquisitions as we move into the winter season. And you'll want to see the Christmas one because it will be all focused on East Asia. So with that being said, that is the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.